Following 24-year-old Aaron Driver's attempt at inflicting a terrorist attack upon Canada, which resulted in his death in Strathroy, Ontario last week, I've been following a lot of the fallout online, both locally as well as nationally, to this. And one that was really concerning came from a Muslim cleric and preacher. He runs a virtual ministry in London for the Muslim faith in my own city. His name will be familiar to a lot of you rebels who have been viewing our coverage of him in the past, and that's Mazen Abdul-Adhim. Now, he is connected to a lot of members of the Muslim community. As far as I can tell, he doesn't have an official position at the London Muslim Mosque, but he does associate with a lot of people from there, in addition to his own popular YouTube videos among Muslims around the world, where he talks about things like his own version of what we should be doing. He says Muslims all across the world should rise up, form a caliphate. He has also written that no one should wear a poppy because we should not honor who he calls war criminals, being Canadian, British, American veterans. He is not exactly a fan of the West, yet he still lives here. He was born in Canada, though of Iraqi descent. Well, in the wake of what happened with the takedown of Aaron Driver, Abdul-Adhim posted on Facebook about the subject. He put a screenshot of a CBC story, and he wrote that he still has some questions about what actually happened that day. It's important not to jump to conclusions about this information until details are made clear. The media clearly has a campaign against Islam and Muslims, and so we should be careful how we respond to news like this. Even if the information is true, we must not allow these sorts of events to cause us to be pressured to apologize for actions that we are not responsible for, nor should this cause us to become afraid of speaking the truth. The governments of the West kill and help kill dozens of innocent civilians every day, and the crimes they have committed against humanity through their foreign policies are orders of magnitude worse than anything these individuals have committed or tried to commit. So not only does he say, well, even if it's true, we don't know yet, and as much as we don't know a lot of the details of this, we do know the rough timeline. We know that Aaron Driver was a radical terrorist. We know that his Muslim faith encouraged him to want to blow up at least one bomb somewhere in Canada. We don't know the timeline of how the takedown unfolded, but this comes very close to Strathroy trutherism, which might be a new phenomenon or a new term we need to coin. But when he goes on, and he's not the first to do this, by the way, and won't be the last, down this road of blaming Western foreign policy for the terrorist attack, we get into the foreign policy equivalent of she was asking for it, saying, oh, well, because of their actions, we have to have some perspective here. Now, this is not an endorsement of every Western policy decision. This is not an endorsement of whatever a government has done. But may I remind you that in Aaron Driver's video, he said even though Canada had withdrawn its air support of the mission against ISIS, it didn't matter. He still wanted to claim Canadian lives for himself. He still wanted to kill people. He still said that the West had Muslim blood on their hands. Does anyone actually think that we can try to inject rationality or logic into the mindset of a terrorist? Does anyone think that there is a negotiation that can unfold? That we must do anything other than what Stephen Harper once called condemn it uncategorically before trying to understand the root causes? Sure, ISIS and ISIS adherents and ISIS supporters take Western intervention in their savage lifestyle and their savage way of living as being an attack against the Muslim faith, and they say, well, we have to fight back. But what's the alternative? We just let them do that? We let them kill and rape children. We let them support bestiality. We let them throw gays off of buildings. Is that the alternative? Just so that we can have some peace and calm and not have to worry about enraging radical Muslims? You see, even the most moderate of Muslims in Canada will say that they are enemies of ISIS as well. But now we have one Muslim preacher saying, well, okay, they're only doing this because of what we're doing in the Middle East, in this campaign against Muslims in the media. Quite frankly, I think the opposite is true. If you look at a lot of mainstream media coverage, you'll hear and read glowing testimonies about the integration of Syrian refugees, about all the work that Muslims are doing to try to break down barriers. That's the media agenda in this country. And I'm more concerned about why we have a man here who is not only saying that he does not think it's conceivable that a 20-something in a southern Ontario town could be a terrorist, but wants to go the other way to say, well, even if he was, look at what we did. Look at the blood that's on Muslims' hands. That sounds a lot like some of the language that Aaron Driver himself was using. For the Rebel.media, I'm Andrew Lawton.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.